Hello and welcome. You have reached the page of The Power of God with your host, Shante Washington. And we are about to get into the subject of sparing the rod, spoiling the child. And this is the, what I spoke about in my other videos about how a lot of people are going around saying how they're not perfect and that they mess up. And this is part two. This is part two. So, and also we are entering into that moment in our lives of freedom from the night, tales of the supernatural. So let's get right on into it. Let's get right on into it right after this brief break. I got some breaking good news, that might hurt some, but others, they'll understand. It just may hurt some, being that most people stand on your every word. And then I guess that's just how it is. But be right back after this break. Let's get right on into this topic. Although I didn't want to come on because this is crazy. Anyway, after this break. Yep, and that's mine too. So you can't take what belongs to me. Hello. Anyway. So back to every piece of content that belongs to Shante Washington. So do know that if you're going through my live, messing up my live, messing with my connection, I mean, I know what's going on. I just don't be really want to say nothing. But I'm not dumb. I know what you're doing. But it's okay. You want to go through my live, you want to mess up my internet access, making it be to the point where I'm having technical issues. Okay, well, go right ahead, but I'm gonna still get this content out because it's mine. And guess who sent me? I am sent me. I'm not gonna keep talking about stuff is mine because number one, I am sent me. And the kingdom of God is at hand, is what I was told to always say. I'm going to say it right now. I'm your host, Shante Washington, and I am sent me. And the kingdom of God is at hand. You better believe it. Anyway, this is the sparing of the rod, spoiling the child. What does that mean? Just going over what that means in the Bible, because a lot of us don't know what that actually means. and it is the I am not perfect, I mess up, continued on as well. Okay, this is continued on. I don't know if it should be a part two to it, but it's continued on from the I am not perfect, um that the part where I left off at. But we getting off into um mainly just the relationship that you have with yourself. That's all I come to say, is how we just need a better relationship with ourselves. I mean, I can't give the content that God sent me to say to everybody, because not everybody gonna like it. But I can't get into my safety zone every time somebody come messing with my stuff, okay? Because it's my God stuff, okay? I can't say I can't say um every time somebody come messing with my stuff, because God gave it to me. He gave it to me. Oh Lord Jesus. And I just don't care. Okay? I don't care. What I'm gonna do is just keep myself on YouTube. On YouTube, where I don't have to be bothered with none of this stuff, for real. I really don't. I don't have to be bothered with none of this stuff at all. Shucks, these people is just crazy. Crazy. This is church. Like when you go up in church, somebody got a problem with something, then they ready to just make you want to just leave and not come back. But you know what? My son said to me, Mom, you better get in there and do that. Do what you got to do, Mom. Don't worry about that. At least I got one support. That's all that matters. Anyway, so back to part two. Suppose I wanna, and I know I'm finna say this anyway. I don't care what they're gonna do with my 15 minutes, but that's on them. This is what I am sent me to do, and the kingdom of God is at hand. That's just it. So anyway, after I say this, and I'm gonna say it anyway, I will be doing 15 minutes. I will try and do 15 minutes, but it's gonna total out to 15 minutes worth of content. 15 minutes worth of content. That's what it's going to wind up being. So let's get right on into it. Let's get right on into it, and let's get started before time go by and then I miss what I'm supposed to do. All right. And I'm starting the clock, and we're gonna go from there. Okay. So well, back to what I was speaking about yesterday about Moses and Pharaoh. Well, the reason the father took his children, all of them, of all ages, and they were mostly adults. These children were mostly adults. The reason why he took his children away from Pharaoh is because of his outburst. That's what I spoke about yesterday. It's because of his outburst and the things he did just because he felt like he could do it. See? There in my internet access again. I know what that means. That means that you're searching through my content to see what you want to see. And so you're messing up my internet access. It anyway. So that's the reason why the people had to go from where Pharaoh was. They had to leave from where Pharaoh was to go with Moses, because Moses was going to be helping God's children to be free. And that was the agenda God had. He wanted them to he had a plan. God had a plan. And the plan had to be set. The plan had to be set. Okay? Because as we know, Pharaoh, he was king over God's children. He was king over God's children. And he felt he could do whatever he wanted to do, as he had leadership over God's children. And Pharaoh was a very emotionally unstable person, but he wasn't being emotionally unstable like people wanted him to be. It was more so he was stern in his emotions. Okay, he didn't get loud, and he didn't say certain things. What he did was he did it at a level that he did it at, because not everybody that get angry and stirring up God's children are actually at a high level. You know, like when you're arguing with someone and you say how a person gets loud, that determines if they're angry or not. And that's not true. It's a lot of calm people walking around here angry. They're angry, but yet they're calm. They're not meek and they're not humble. Because what it is the outburst from the person that doesn't belong there that you have to look at. It's the outburst. It's the emotional stirring up of that you have to look out for. So being emotionally unstable, including doing things and saying things in the midst of that emotion, can be detrimental to the other person. And it can range from allowing things that are not to be done, letting that stretch out for a long time because of our emotional state about a thing, okay? The mental state, the state on a specific subject that stirs you up to react in that outburst, okay? And that's where people go back to their past. They go back to their past based on the outburst that they have at a specific word that they're hanging on to what somebody else is doing, versus getting getting off of that person's words and getting into the heart of that person for God. They're not doing that. They're basically just hanging on their every word and becoming a part of their past again. And that's where it becomes a particular problem in what we do every day, what we say every day, how we react to stuff every day. It's the outbursts that determines what's really going on. It's not about how high the person got or how um how this person cursed somebody out and how this person did this and did that, because some people may be just used to cursing, and some people can become so passionate with their words that they become louder. And then you get the motivational speakers who gets loud automatically, you know. And it's not that the person get loud. It's calm people out here that's doing the same thing. They're doing the same thing. They having problems with the outburst coming from the body out. Okay. And then as they're having that particular thing on their body suit, what happens is that stuff goes out into the atmosphere, and then that brings forth the spirits that they talk about in the Bible, that bring forth 7 more spirits that's way worse than the other spirit. Okay. That's what that does. When you have that outburst, it's like you inviting more spirits back in to come in with you of your past, because these are spirits from the past. These are spirits from the dead. So they're going to come back, and they're going to feel like they can get you and deaden you, to put you to death, so that you can be able to do the same to your neighbor. Okay. Because you don't have love. So being that they put you to death, that means you have no love on the inside of you. It's pure hate. And then you're going to give that same stuff, that hurt that you undergoing, being that you have no love there, you have all hate, you're going to give that right back to that person. I know a song says that you can hate me, but you ain't getting no hate back. Okay. It's like that. So so um so as I was saying, a specific subject that is long ago history. It's history in the making. Um, in our past, it's long time ago and more. Okay, which means it's happening before. It happened before. That's what it means. It means it happened before, and your mind is still holding on to it. And so now you're ready to outburst with that amount of hurt that you went through before that person. And now that person is about to get it, because you went back into your past off of what that person did or said, or how they done something. So you looking back into your past, and now you blaming that person because they caused, you say they caused you to come out with that outburst, and that's not true. You digged into your own past, sprouted all that back up, and gave that to that person. You did that. There's no blame on how you went back to your past. That person didn't go into you and go back to your past and then had you to put the words on the tip of your tongue and then you said it. Because the Father says that, and according to the Bible, the Father says that um his children, the king above kings, will overturn tongues. They will have tongues to overturn the tongues that are already out here. So therefore, you cannot blame that other person because of their tongue that they have. No, you dig back in your own past situations, even the stuff that was there that you didn't even know was there came sprouting up. That stuff came up. That's why when a person say, "Oh," in a verbal argument, they look at you and they be like, "Oh, you you had that in you all this time." Of course, it's a lot of things inside of all of us, but it takes the love of the next person to love on the inside of that person, and none of that stuff will ever come up because the stuff will be dead and it'll stay dead and it wouldn't deaden the person. Okay, not the person. It wouldn't touch the person. So being that people say that, it doesn't mean that it's right. That's wrong. Why say something like that? Why? Why say something like that? You know, well, you been had that in you. We all carry a lot of stuff inside of us that's in our flesh, okay? That's in our flesh that we don't supposed to be mingling with. But there are so many people that can stir that side of you up and have you just in your flesh, which is why God said, you can be angry all you want to, but you better not sin. Sin not, he said. Sin not. You can anger all you want to, but sin not. The sin is the outburst, okay? The sin is the outburst. But if you're easily angered, should I say it like that? If you're easily angered, that's that part. You should not be easily angered. If you're easily angered off of one little something that somebody did, at any given time, whenever you sprout it up or get ready to say it or get ready to do it, the outburst. If you're easily angered on whatever it is at any moment, that means it came from you. It came from your flesh. You tried and you tried not to touch on what was on your flesh for so long, and then all of a sudden, somebody do. Now you're resorting back to your past, back to history, back to the dirt, back to where the dead people rest. That's what you're going for. And you're waking the deadening of those people back up to get ready to sprout out at that person next to you, your neighbor. Which is why God covered all grounds. He said, love him, love God, love the Spirit, and love your neighbor as you love yourself. He covered all grounds so that you wouldn't do that back at your neighbor. Because once you give it to your neighbor, it's out in the atmosphere. Then guess what? It's going to come back on you. So that was my 15 minutes. That was my 15 minutes in part 2. I got some more to speak on, but that was my 15 minutes of what I had to say for that. I don't know, but I don't know. That was my 15-minute video. I might do the rest on YouTube. Because I don't know. But anyway. So we will start back here tomorrow, 15 more minutes on what I'm actually trying to get out to God's children about sparing the rod according to the Bible. Sparing the rod, spoiling the child. What does that mean? And it's a lot of stuff that I'm saying that you still can get in, even though I'm cutting it off at 15 minutes. And enjoy yourself. Till tomorrow. I'll be here tomorrow at 7 p.m. again with some more updated breaking good news about this same thing of sparing the rod, spoiling the child, which was in the Bible. This is according to the Bible, and how we always say that we're not perfect. We mess up, and then you go and mess up, okay? And that's not how it's supposed to go. And if I'll get into the Bible verses that says that those specific words, and then, but until that time, I'll see you later. Bye-bye. Bye-bye.